to receive peace, power, and clarity. And with each breath out, I want you to release guilt, shame, and stories that no longer serve you. Let it go. You are not your past. You are not the weight. You are not the pain. That was a chapter. But today, you are the author of your next one. Breathe into that truth. Take a deep breath in, accept the new chapter, and say it quietly. I am safe to let go. I am ready to rise. I am safe to let go. I am ready to rise. I am safe to let go. I am ready to rise. Inhale. Shame, remorse, release. Inhale, purpose. Hold, 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 hold. Exhale, pressure to be perfect. Exhale, pressure to be exhale, pressure. Exhale, pressure to be. Exhale, pressure. Inhale, worthiness. Hold it and release. You are worthy. You are powerful. You are worthy. You are powerful. Inhale, power, release, powerlessness. Inhale, worth, release, worthlessness. Deep breath in, hold it for 4, blow it out. You are not alone. Deep breath in, hold it, gently blow it out. Deep breath in, fill up your entire compartment. Slowly release. On this final deep breath in, let the breath be your breakthrough and release. And release. How are we doing? Take another deep breath in and release. If you're finding yourself fighting to relax, fighting to join in the meditation, I just want you to take a deep breath and just shake out all that tension. For some people, it's more difficult to relax on the spot. It's difficult to find a sense of peace on the spot. So I just want you to bask in the behind me. It's a beautiful weather. You have greenery. We're listening to a soft meditative state, and it's literally to relax the body. One of the things we really want to become in the habit of doing is finding a sense of calmness that we're able to achieve on our own. Well, if something is going on in our daily to and from life, we are able to relax ourselves simply by taking a few deep breaths in, claiming our space, claiming a sense of renewal, and releasing that. So it's a deep breath in, claiming that space, claiming that renewal, and releasing them. All right. And while we're still kind of in this very relaxed state, I'm going to go ahead and invite you to join us on today's daily reading, which is day 145. As we mentioned yesterday, I want to make sure we include our amazing Irish tribe. So we have them present with us today via Zoom. So we're going to hop right into that first reading by David Komalafi. I'm going to stop that screen share on Zoom, ladies. We're going to get us all set up and ready to go. All right. Boom, boom, and boom. All right, here we go. So we're right back into it. We have our first reading, which is going to be that 365 Days of Fear Not with David Komalafi on day 145. It is written, and although he wanted to put him to death, he feared the multitude because they counted him as a prophet. Matthew 14 and 27. Principle. You can walk on your fear and trample hard trample hard on it to the point of no recovery. You can walk on your fear and trample hard on it to the point of no recovery. I'm going to read that to make sure y'all catch that. You can trample on your fear, okay? You can walk on it and trample on it hard to the point of no recovery. Essentially saying that one can literally endure enough fear that it can cause you to be walking in fear, stumbling in fear to the point you can't recover, you can't return from that fearful idea, that fearful thought. Remember yesterday I gave an example of how fear guided me, and then I trampled on it and found out that there was no reason for me to even be in such a space at such a time, if that makes any sense. Then it says the prayer for today says, I tread down my fears in Jesus' name. 2, fear shall not put me under, but I put it under. And as I said yesterday, and I say every day, one of the biggest key factors for me has been learning that my safe place is running to fear. The unsafe place is running away from fear, not accepting the delusional stories that I may be telling myself about my situation. That's running away from the fear. Running to the fear will be allowing myself to get worked up, to become anxious, to become sad, to become sad or become sad about this form of fear. But if I deny it and don't put all that energy in being afraid, many of us spend more time in being afraid of what's never going to happen. We're literally living in fear. We've actually gotten bigger because we're sucked up in fear. Fear of A, fear of B. Well, if I do that, this is going to happen. If I do that, this is going to happen. One of anything never hurt anything, right? It's one of anything. The problem is we have no self-control. Because we lack self-control, we have to say what we're afraid of doing because this will happen, because we don't know how to control our behavior to not overdo it. It's not the cookie's fault, it's your fault. The cookie is not forcing you to eat it. You're forcing yourself to eat the cookie, but yet you will blame it on the cookie or why you got diabetes. No, you got diabetes because you couldn't just eat one. Do you understand? So we have to understand that there's a method to our thinking, right? So, and this is, yeah, if you were here when, Mona, we can't hear you. But if y'all remember Kia, do y'all remember Kia? Y'all, I think y'all might be too new. So Kia was this beautiful young lady, and she came to class, and she's giving me permission to use this story. But what happened with Kia came to class, and Kia was very aware of her weight. She was on a weight loss journey, but she drank 2 cases of Coke Zero a day and drank 8 cups of ice. No, these are 2 different ladies. Wait a minute. We had one lady that drank 2 cases of Coke Zero a day, and another lady that ate 14 cups of ice but didn't eat. Okay. The lady that ate the ice said the reason why she ate the ice because she felt like eating the ice was better than eating the food. But what was happening is eating the ice was making her addicted to chewing, so she couldn't stop chewing. So even when she wasn't hungry and didn't need to be chewing anything, she's now created an addiction to chewing. Although she's not chewing food, the fact that she's no longer eating because she feels like ice is some form of nutrition, but it's really because she's addicted to the crunch in the ice. First scenario. The second scenario is our dear friend Carla. Carla W still comes, and she'll tell you this story herself. So when Carla first came, the way she introduced herself was, my name is Carla, and I'm not stopping drinking Coke Zero. That was her first statement. That's what she told me. I said, well, I don't think it's a problem with you drinking Coke Zero. You're only drinking 1. And she was like, no, I can't live without it. I drink between a case and 2 cases a day. I said, well, love, why don't you just get the regular pop? She said, I can't get the regular pop because it got sugar in it. I said, love bug, if you're drinking 2 cases of Coke Zero, you're drinking 2 cases of saccharin, the very sugar that causes cancer. Make it make sense. So you're drinking Coke Zero that has carbonation and fake sugar in it, but you're telling me you're pre-diabetic and you can't have sugar, but you're drinking Coke Zero. Make it make sense. So the reason why I challenge in our thought patterns, because we'll say we can't have one thing, but when we binging and purging, we're eating the very thing we claim we can't have, but we won't cook at home. Okay. Now the lady I just hired says she does not. It's the young lady that I met yesterday says she doesn't eat any form of seasoning on her food, so she doesn't understand her labs. And I said, but you go out to eat, you order your lunch and your breakfast through DoorDash every day. They cook with seasonings. She said, I understand that, but because I don't cook with them, it shouldn't matter. I said, how does that make sense? You eat 90% of your meals cooked by someone else and they're using seasonings, but you're telling me you don't use seasonings, but you do. When you choose to order out, you eat every and anything. But when someone tells you to cook healthy in your home, all of a sudden you don't eat none of the things that actually help you get healthy. Make it make sense. So we have to watch how we talk. It actually sounds crazy, right? Just think about the things we say. I'll give you another prime example since I'm rolling on the examples. Mona will tell you about we had a conversation with our girlfriend from the Coke Zero. She was ready. She had came to class to debate with me. But I didn't need to debate. I told her you can drink all the Coke Zero you want, but I don't understand why you depriving yourself. You might as well go get a regular pop. If you drinking 6 big gulps a day from Circle K of Diet Coke, why don't you just get a regular Coke? The amount of consumption of the Diet Coke you're drinking is equivalent to 1 Coke, so make it make sense. So what happens is we'll see the title because it says diet, sugar-free, or low-fat. And in our mind, it thinks we can have more of it because it says diet, sugar-free, or low-fat. When you realize sugar-free items have sweetener in them, you do know that, right? There are actually some items that's sugar free that has so much fake sugar in it that you're better off getting real actual cane sugar and eating it off of a spoon. Hmm? Did I know that? That by the time you amount up the amount of saccharin that's put in a lot of your artificial items, you have actually used the same amount of regular cane sugar. So if you're using sweet and low, you realize the serving on the back of the box is for 1 packet. So if you're losing 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 packets, it's no longer the serving on the back of the box. We do get that part, right? So if you buy a bag of chips and it says 4 servings and you eat the whole bag, you realize you ate 4 servings of the chips. So you don't ask yourself, why am I swelling? Why am I bloating? Well, you just ate 4 servings. So even though the bag said 1 serving was 300 grams of sodium, well, you ate 4 servings. That's actually more like 1,500 grams of sodium. Are we doing the math? So it goes back to what do we talk about all the time? Moderation and control, and not being afraid to moderate. Do not be afraid to moderate. More to the story, it's not having one of anything. It's making sure we're doing the work that's necessary to have a little bit of everything that our body needs. Go do your research on the actual vitamins and minerals and levels of nutritional input the body needs for the brain to properly function. You will see that the brain requires not only sugar, but it requires carbs, vegetables, and protein. It requires all of those things. That is why when children are growing up, we feed all of those things to children, You see, when someone says, I don't eat no kind of sugar, well, babe, grapes break down to sugar. So you do eat sugar, love bug. You don't eat raw sugar, okay? Let's get educated about how we speak. If you eat any form of fruit, you eat sugar. If you drink any form of soda, you eat sugar. If you eat any form of potato chips, fried chips, or fried foods, you eat sodium because it bases out to sodium. So walking around saying, I don't eat these things, that's not necessarily true. That's how you're getting caught up because you're saying, I don't eat these things, but if you go through the drive-through at McDonald's and get a Happy Meal, it has salt in it. It's I don't. Let's balance it, right? One of anything is not the problem, but if you stand on a soapbox and argue about the one of anything, but then you can justify it when binging and purging, you're only hurting yourself. You're not hurting me, you're hurting yourself, because you're living in a delusional frame of mind. And this is one of the reasons why you're not advancing in your weight loss and wellness journey. The first key is acceptance, the second key is integrity and honesty about your eating habits. And many of us don't have it. Many of us still sneak, eat, and lie and cheat. Still sneaking, eating, lying, and cheating and hollering, I can't lose weight. It's because you're still sneaking, eating, and lying and cheating. You can't do those. You cannot allow your brain to think one behavior is good over the other. The scenario I gave my client this morning, if this is the plight you choose to take it all the way. If you come up with a system and you call me with the system and I'm supporting you in the system, next week when it's your birthday, don't suddenly be off the system that you swore to me that is the only system that you believe works. That is fine. Take your system, keep your system, function in your system. But when you hit a stumbling block, don't say, oh, I'm defeated, I can't do it. It's the method of the pathway that you choose to take to get there. You understand? It's not about restricting, it's about having enough self control where you understand the importance of first giving your body what it's supposed to have and then giving it what you want it to have. There's a difference in eating what we're supposed to have and what we want to have. Most of us are only eating what we want. We're not basing our meals on what we need. We are literally eating what we want. I'm going through this drive because I want a burger and french fries. It doesn't matter that there's no nutritional support in that meal I'm getting because I am not looking at it like that. I'm looking to get full. I'm not looking to get fueled. There's a difference. Huh? If I'm working 8 hours and my lunch is so heavy and full of carbs, fats, and fried foods, then by 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm going to be lethargic and sleepy. Why? Because my body, instead of giving it something that it could use to burn for fuel, I ate a comfort food at lunch, so I'm having comfort feelings. Are you following me? If you eat heavy food in the middle of the day, your body is going to act as if it is time to act comforted. You're going to become drowsy, lethargic, and sleepy. Okay? This is why we select foods that fuel us at certain times of the day so that it can already meet your natural balance of your metabolism working. We talk about going to sleep in enough hours, getting up in enough time, making that REM sleep, breaking that fast, activating the metabolism, and then feeding the small amounts of food all day. In the middle of that, we're having the things we both need and want. Because we're not dieting, we're not restricting, we're just not overindulging. We're not telling our brain, you can't have that, 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 you can't have that. It's like a child. It's like somebody putting handcuffs on you and then setting you in front of a buffet and making you look at the food while everybody else is engaging in it, right? We don't want you to feel like you're in a prison with your nutrition because it was never supposed to be like that. But in order to reverse that, we have to first start with the way we think, right? My primary focus always used to be, I don't want to get hypertension, huh? I was on 6 blood pressure pills for hypertension. And the one thing I quickly learned is I was doing all of this restricting, transition, and changing, but I still needed blood pressure pills. How was that helpful? How is it that if you put me on a blood pressure pill in 1997 and I'm still on the same blood pressure pill in 2025, I should be asking questions. I should be asking questions. That should alarm me that I've been on medication and I'm still needing it. That's sick care. That means you have no intention for me to ever have a regular blood pressure because we're not doing anything to get me off of the medicine. What are we doing for the body to naturally regulate its blood pressure? Are we drinking and doing things that can naturally regulate blood pressure? Because if we're only taking the medicine, then we're committed to being on this medicine lifelong. Because after a while, the job of medication removes your body's natural ability to do that thing. If I have medication regulating my blood pressure, then there's no reason for my body to show up in that area. Does that make sense? The same way if our body doesn't do something and we need medicine to do it, is the same way if we wanted to do something and we use medicine, it is less likely to pick up that job, right? The doctor on YouTube that I love and I follow often, he talks about how he works with his patients to wean them off of medication when they come to him. Because what he finds out is that the side effects from the opposing medications are why they're even on medications, that they never had those diagnoses in the first place because they were medication induced meds, right? So what we get to go do is say to our doctor, hey, can you do a med check on me so that we can make sure that all the meds I'm on are doing their job and I'm not causing any of my body's natural systems to no longer work? We get to ask that. We also get to ask, is there any new meds that have come out? If I've been on this med for 22 years and my blood pressure is the same, then clearly it's not working. If my blood pressure is still high and I've been on a pill for 10 or 15 years and it's not gone down, you don't think we should be doing some type of medication review check? Something's ain't nobody alarmed. Nobody's alarmed that I've been doing the same thing for 25 years and don't nobody think we need to change that. This is where your voice becomes important. As it says in the book, fear shall not put me under. When we are afraid to go empower ourselves in medical doctors' offices with people with coats on and ask questions about things going on with our body, we are trampled over. We are overridden and our voices are shut down. It is when we stand up and say, I understand what you're saying, but what about this? I get what you're saying for all your other patients, but I'm not I'm this patient, right? I understand what you've done in the past. I get you've been doing this for 30 years, but I've been seeing you for 10 and I'm on the same medicine and my quality of life hasn't changed. It's as I showed Shaq when she first came here. She said, I've been doing all this stuff for 30 years. I said, but Shaq, you in the same situation. That's not nothing to brag about. Think about it. If we've been doing the same thing for 30 years and our quality of life is not where we want it, how is what we've been doing beneficial to our what we want to do? Right? So then we have to ask a question about our mindset. Right? I want more. I want to do more. I want to be more. I want to go more. But then we say, well, I've been doing this my whole life. It's been like that. We have to be willing to say, I now need to change that as well. So that's where releasing that fear and trampling on and not allowing it to get bigger. Because the only thing that prevents us from walking into something new is the fear that it won't work out, that we don't know how to do it, that we don't know what it is. But if we walk into that a little bit at a time, then we see results. If we ease into it a little bit at a time. When people say, where should I start? When people come to me and they're medically compromised, the first place I tell them to start is with their doctor. And they always say, why to start with my doctor? I said, well, you first need to go back to your doctor and talk about all the medications you're on and all the diseases you say that you have, because the medications that you name from here alone, if you put them in Google, it'll tell you there's counter interactions. So first and foremost, you might want to go back to your doctor and have a real conversation about your medical treatment and your medical program and what the goal is to get you healthy. Instead of maintaining you and giving you a prescription every 30 days, let's talk about what it looks like for you actually to pursue health. Okay. Then the second thing I tell them is, what do you hope to accomplish by starting with me? Because if you don't feel like your current life is a problem, then what can you accomplish with me that you can't do on your own? You see, like, what do you need me for? Because if you don't feel there's any need to change everything about the way you live, then there's nothing me and you got to talk about. The reason why I say that, because most of the food and most of the behavior around food is most eating is behavioral. And if you feel like your behavior and your eating is not connected in any way, and you don't understand how you have struggling with obesity, and you feel like it's truly only your PCOS and your mindset plays no role in it, then there's nothing I need to do. Then you need a doctor, because what you're saying is you're medically obese, which means you need a medical doctor for medical obesity, right? So there's a difference in these variations of struggles that we may be having, but we got to first figure out which shoe fits us. Figure out your shoe, then you put your shoe on and you walk in it. You may learn that your medicine is the reason why you can't curb your appetite, why your cravings are high, and simply stopping the medication can help with weight loss. Some people don't sleep well. Going to the doctor and talking about getting something for sleep, people tend to lose weight by simply getting more sleep. Why? Because they're able to get to REM. Huh? People start walking. They don't do anything in the kitchen with their food. They simply start getting up and moving their body every day. And guess what happens? As a result, they begin to drop unwanted weight. Did they do anything dramatic? No. Their body was needing that one thing that they adjusted. And as they continue to adjust, what do I say? One thing at a time, the results begin to flow downward. They trickle down. They last longer because you're actually being intentional about each change that you're making in your life, one change at a time. There's more intention behind it. There's intention in learning about the body. There's intention in understanding how food breaks down. There's intention in understanding sleep. There's intention in understanding nutrition. Many of us want to be healthy, but unfortunately, we don't have the desire to investigate and research what actual health and wellness looks like, because so many of us think healthy is just skinny. We don't seem to conceptualize that skinny people can be sickly. We don't seem to conceptualize that you can lose 500-600 pounds and still have the same freaking lupus, and still have the same freaking PCOS, and still have the same freaking diabetes, and still have the same freaking hypertension. Do you understand what I'm saying? Many people pursue skinny instead of healthy. Your job is to trample on the fear and the delusion of skinny and pursue your health. Not Betty's health, not Tanya's health, not Tamika's health, not Lulu's health. One person may need to cut back on everything, whereas another person, they're restricting as a form of their food addiction, so they're not supposed to be. Everybody's journey has a little bit of quirk and difference in it. That's why you keep your mind open. That's why you are always should be willing to research your stuff. If your doctor say, hey, we did some tests and it looks like your so-and-so levels are high, you should be running your butt on to somebody's WMD to do your research. You should be seeking second opinions. I know tons of people who have been giving serious diagnosis and they are suffering and they have yet to get a second opinion, but their quality of life is nothing. My doctor, my doctor, my doctor. Love, your doctor is on vacations, laying out by the pool and traveling. You're stuck up in the house, laid up somewhere, can't go outside, can't stand up on your feet, sick as a dog. Find another doctor that is willing to give you a better quality of life. Because nowhere, never did it ever say anywhere in the Bible that this life was meant to be full of suffering, full of pain, or full of hurt. Nowhere did it say that. Therefore, if one person is allowed to have comfort and happiness and peace, why would you not? If one person's body is allowed to be whole, why would your body not allowed to be whole? I know people that have terminal birth defects and they're healthier than people that have no sign of illness at all. You understand? I know women and men living with sickle cell, MS. You can't tell at all because the quality of life. You understand me? The quality of living. We call it living with our conditions. We don't claim to be cured. We claim to be pursuing a pathway of health with a terminal condition. So I'm not dying of anything. I'm living with everything. All right? Trampling on the fear. May 7th. How are we doing? Okay. May 7th. Good topic. Are you angry? Anger ranks high on the list of perplexing, troublesome emotions. We want to be kind and loving, but then suddenly we feel a jolt in our heart, an edge to our voice. Something has tapped deep inside. It could be a chunk of old anger, something we weren't conscious of or safe enough to feel back then. It may be current. Something has come into our life today, and our reaction is anger. Oh no, we may think this isn't what I need. But denying anger will not bring us joy. Hiding it, tucking it away deep inside is not the answer. We may even turn it upon ourselves. Not feeling anger won't make it go away. Its energy will still be there, pounding away inside of us, and in subtle ways, pounding away at others too. Until we acknowledge our anger, feel it, and release it, it will keep us off balance, on edge, and irritable. We need to give ourselves permission to feel all our emotions, including anger. But allowing yourself to feel angry doesn't mean giving yourself permission to rage, to hack, and to cleave at the world, to verbally abuse those around you. Find ways to express your anger with grace and dignity. Park your car, roll down the windows and yell. Find a solitary place, a spot where you are safe. Then speak loudly about how you feel. Write it out, shout it out, pound it out. Go to the gym and work it out. Anger can be a guide. Used creatively, it can help us decide where to go and where not to go. It can help us to get to the next place in our lives. Feeling and expressing our anger in appropriate ways will take us forward to a place of power within ourselves. Let yourself feel anger when anger is what you really feel. Then get the anger out of your head and out of your body. Once that's happened, you'll feel clear. You'll know what to do next. The path to your heart, to your inner voice, will be opened. Sometimes getting angry is exactly what we need to do next. Are you angry? Melanie Beating. Okay, so for today's reading for today, for day 145. Melanie Beatty and David Komalafi. Today's topic was trampling over fear and addressing. A lot of times you can people feel like, oh, I can't get angry because I'm not allowed to. But as Melanie was saying, as I believe, I think there's safe ways to express how we feel. And I think when we constantly suppress our anger or our emotions, it comes out at the wrong time for the wrong thing. I've had a history of that in the past. I'm a person that can walk away and say, oh, it's fine. And then inside, when I begin to process what happened, it don't be fine in real life. And so today I have a sponsor that I can go to. I have two of them. One of them I go to in particular for things like that. That's very helpful. I have a community that I go to do my resentments and my amendments. I have a space where I safely am allowed to feel my feelings. I'm a part of a family where we openly share, our anger, bitterness, resentments with one another so that they don't become a thing. And I'm grateful for that. I remember a time where I wasn't allowed to talk about feelings or emotions. I spent a lot of time. Yes, we'll catch you later, alligator. Bye. um I remember there was a time where I wasn't allowed to properly express my emotions. And so what would happen is I would fall into a sadness because I felt unheard a lot. So by me never expressing my feelings, it came to a point where people didn't expect me to. So when I did express my feelings, I was always looked at weirdly because I never said them. And then what happens, people didn't listen, right? Because I never really talked about my feelings. It was always about education or research or something like that, something valuable, but it would never be my true, authentic feelings. And I learned that it's okay to say how I feel. Sometimes how I feel is it ain't nothing even major, but it's at least having permission to at least say how the heck you feel about something. And then in other spaces, to tell you the truth, sometimes some people aren't a safe space for you to say how you feel. And so you need to go in spaces where saying how you feel is accepted and welcomed with open arms and validated. That's the one advice I would give you, is that when seeking that safe space to express your emotions, anger, unanger, whatever it may be, just always be cautious to make sure you go to a place that can actually handle emotions, right? Sherry and I talk a lot about going to the hardware store to get bread and milk. I always say going to the fabric store to get tools. Fabric store don't got no tools. But I think people be going in there looking for jigsaw cutters and everything in the fabric store. They trying to make something. That's why they in the fabric store. They trying to make something all right. But they going in there looking for actual hammers and nails and things like that. And the fabric store don't only have them little bitty nails to hang pictures. It ain't to build no house or nothing. So I've learned that it's something that I get to be more aware of, and also it's safe to talk about with people, to say it's okay to find a safe space where you share how you feel, only because everybody around you may not be that safe space for you. So we do have a right to protect our emotions and feelings while walking through this journey, while becoming more familiar with ourselves, while looking at this thing we call life. All right. Okay, any feedback for today's reading? I don't know what the little dance was. Just go with it. Y'all kind of look. Are y'all frozen?
I'm saying I'm alive.
Hi, beautiful. Okay, go ahead.
I was just saying I'm good. There was a point that you made earlier about the trampling on the fear, and I do find that a lot of times that gets in my way. I think I said that once before about afraid to move on.
Yep, you told me that before.
It sets me back, but I've been able to accomplish what I need to do, move forward, and put the fear up behind me. And that's just recent. I'm not saying I've overcome it completely, but just recent. I've had to step out and go beyond the fear in order to get something done and not reverse, because I had this desire to have some snacks, and it was like 10 o'clock at night, and I was getting ready to go to bed.
Out of nowhere?
I had to tell myself, I can't do that because it's full of salt.
Yeah.
And salt.
Especially if you lay down on it, right? You guys know that if you eat something high in sodium and then go to sleep, because you're not up and moving or drinking fluid, it'll swell you. So the next 2 to 3 days. So listen to this. If I eat it on Monday, it means the swelling is going to fully manifest itself by Thursday. So I'm gonna see a little swelling on Tuesday, a little swelling, but on Thursday, when my body is trying to push the salt out itself, the swelling will get more and then release. All right.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it'll affect the body physically.
Mm-hmm. It make you lethargic. You have that heavy feeling all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, the salts. The salts. All right. I know that. It gives me a light little headache right here when I act up at night. That's what I call it, acting up. When I be trying to over snack at night. Especially if I now what I do is if I'm working late, no food by the laptop. Cause I'll get to and typing. Go ahead, Sherry.
Yeah, last night I had a banana.
Mm-hmm.
I took the banana and went back there to my room and was flipping my cartoons on, like I do, every night. But I don't be eating a banana when I go back there. Usually it's peanut butter and crackers and cheese and crackers or something. But I went back there and had the banana, and I was in my whole routine before I realized, oh, wait a minute, I'm eating in the bedroom. Now I just passed the sign on my door.
It's the sign on the door. How'd you even get in there?
No longer eating. I didn't see it. My door wasn't closed, so therefore, the door was open, so it was easy for me to miss the door. Mm-hmm. And all I was thinking about is my banana and Rugrats, so that's what I was trying to get to. And then when I sat down and stuff, I realized that, I'm eating in my room. And I got up. I didn't even get a bite of the banana. Got up and went
but
back
the recognition was there.
Sat at the kitchen table where I eat. That's
food.
My only designated area to eat. I don't even want to eat in the living room, even if I don't have the TV on.
Yep.
I don't want to eat in the living room or at the computer.
Yeah.
At all. Yeah, so it's working, It's like,
but that's a win. You realize that your brain stopped you before doing it, which shows that mind over matter. It's mind over matter. It doesn't matter how many habits you have in place. Once the mindset is engaged, the body is in trouble, because that means you're getting control of the very things that was weakening you. When you say, oh, nope, I'm not doing it, I'm getting up right now, come on, you can come with me or you can stay here, but I'm doing it. The more and more incidents you have like that, it's like telling your ego, oh, we got this, we a bad sister, we a bad mama jamma. Every time you declare and decree, I noticed this is one of my ways that I groom my eating. Let me get up out of this bedroom. Or, oh, I'm eating in the car again. This is one of the ways I groom my overeating. Let me get my butt out of this car eating. When you begin to say, okay, this is what Coach was talking about, I'm hoarding, let me stop that. When this cuts you on and cuts you off, that is the progress. That's the progress. Not eating that snack last night was the win. Not eating that banana in the bedroom was the win. Now, someone focused on calorie counting, restricting, and the scale would say that's not a win, you see, because you didn't lose no weight doing it. Because you see what I'm saying? But we know that the mind controls the body. And in fact, not only did you lose weight, you lost thousands and thousands of pounds. Because every time you can say no to the craving loses power. The craving loses control. The craving stops winning. When you can say, no, I'm not going to use that to make myself sleepy. I'm sleepy. I can take my butt in here and lay down. The only reason why I was going to chew is because the chewing is going to relax me and I'm going to fall right on to sleep better. That is the only reason why I'm about to eat this item. I don't need this item. I'm not hungry, but I need to go to sleep and I'm not sleepy. So I know that chewing relaxes me. So I'm going to go in here and get these grapes and chew on these grapes. Never mind the fact I might eat the whole bag before I fall asleep, not realizing that I chewed myself to sleep like a baby. It's literally that easy to slip into the habits, y'all. It's literally that easy. Before you know it, you'll be right back where you said you would never be. Because remember, the mind is more powerful than calorie counting and the scale. I'm telling you, when you beat the mind, you beat the body. You beat the body. You beat the body. Every night you say, I'm not eating that tonight. Every day you get up and say, I'm not going through that drive-through. Every time you say, I'm going to get on this plate. I'm going to get on my vibration plate. Every time, Sherry, you make it down that hall, one up, one back. Every time your mind sees you accomplish that task, winner, 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 winner. And you're telling the enemy, you're defeated, you're defeated, you're defeated, you're defeated, you're defeated, right? You're defeated. I win, you lose. Every time we choose to show up in our thinking and express it in our physical presentation, we are winning. Keep winning because you deserve it.